There's a version of you that only exists when no one is watching. Alone, you are articulate, thoughtful, clear. Your ideas move freely. Your humor feels natural. Your intelligence feels accessible. There is space inside you. But the moment you enter certain social environments, especially professional ones, something subtle shifts. Not dramatically. You still function, you still speak, you still perform, but internally, something tightens. Your breathing becomes slightly shallow. Your jaw subtly contracts. Your shoulders rise a few millimeters. Your thoughts are still there, but they feel just out of reach. And later, alone again, you replay it. Why did I hesitate? Why didn't I say that better? Why do I feel different around people? This confusion has followed you for years, and maybe you've explained it away. I'm just introverted. I don't like group settings. I'm not great under pressure. But what if this isn't about personality? What if it's about state? Your nervous system operates in different states, and state determines access. Access to memory, access to creativity, access to spontaneity. When you are alone, your system is predictable. Predictability signals safety. No micro-expressions to decode, no status dynamics to evaluate, no subtle shifts in tone to analyze. Your body relaxes. But when you enter a social space, especially one with hierarchy, your nervous system begins scanning. Not consciously, biologically. Am I accepted here? Am I respected here? Am I safe here? These questions do not form in language, they form in sensation. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, evaluates cues in milliseconds. Not dramatic threats, subtle uncertainty. A neutral face, a delayed response, an unreadable expression. Uncertainty is metabolically expensive. The brain consumes more energy predicting uncertain outcomes. And humans are the most complex variable in any environment. When uncertainty rises, vigilance rises. Heart rate increases slightly, breathing becomes shallower, peripheral vision narrows. And here's something most people don't know. When vigilance activates, blood flow redistributes. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for articulate speech, abstract reasoning, and working memory, receives less metabolic priority. You don't lose intelligence, you lose access. That subtle fog you feel in meetings, that slight delay in word recall, it's not incompetence, it's survival allocation. Now, let's step into a scene. It's Monday morning. You're reviewing notes alone at your desk. Everything makes sense. Your thoughts are structured. Your responses are clear. You feel capable. An hour later, you're in a meeting. Faces appear on screen or across the table. Someone senior joins. Hierarchy enters the room. Even if they're kind, your nervous system does not distinguish between a tribal leader and a corporate executive. Hierarchy is ancient. Long before offices, humans lived in tribes. Rank determined access to resources. Access to resources determined survival. Your body still carries that code. When visibility increases under hierarchy, activation rises. Visibility can feel like exposure. Exposure can feel like risk. And risk activates old circuits. You begin monitoring yourself. Am I speaking too much? Too little? Does this sound intelligent enough? Self-monitoring consumes bandwidth that would otherwise support clarity. And if you once experienced moments like being corrected publicly, being interrupted, being laughed at, having your idea dismissed without repair, your system learns something powerful. Visibility carries danger. Not dramatic danger, relational danger, and relational danger activates the same neural circuitry as physical pain. Brain imaging studies show that social rejection lights up the anterior cingulate cortex, the same region activated during physical injury. To your nervous system, exclusion is not metaphorical, it is biological. So when you feel different around people, especially in professional environments, it is not weakness, it is memory. Memory without words. Implicit memory does not store story, it stores sensation. Breathing patterns, muscle tone, posture, vocal shifts. Your body compares present moments to stored patterns. If similarity is detected, even loosely, it prepares. Preparation changes access, and access changes identity. You begin to feel like a different version of yourself. But you are not different. You are protective.
There's a version of you that only exists when no one is watching. Alone, you are articulate, thoughtful, clear. Your ideas move freely. Your humor feels natural. Your intelligence feels accessible. There is space inside you. But the moment you enter certain social environments, especially professional ones, something subtle shifts. Not dramatically. You still function, you still speak, you still perform. But internally, something tightens. Your breathing becomes slightly shallow. Your jaw subtly contracts. Your shoulders rise a few millimeters. Your thoughts are still there, but they feel just out of reach. And later, alone again, you replay it. Why did I hesitate? Why didn't I say that better? Why do I feel different around people? This confusion has followed you for years. And maybe you've explained it away. I'm just introverted. I don't like group settings. I'm not great under pressure. But what if this isn't about personality? What if it's about state? Your nervous system operates in different states, and state determines access. Access to memory, access to creativity, access to spontaneity. When you're alone, your system is predictable. Predictability signals safety. No micro expressions to decode, no status dynamics to evaluate, no subtle shifts in tone to analyze. Your body relaxes. But when you enter a social space, especially one with hierarchy, your nervous system begins scanning. Not consciously, biologically. Am I accepted here? Am I respected here? Am I safe here? These questions do not form in language. They form in sensation. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, evaluates cues in milliseconds. Not dramatic threats, subtle uncertainty. A neutral face, a delayed response, an unreadable expression. Uncertainty is metabolically expensive. The brain consumes more energy predicting uncertain outcomes. And humans are the most complex variable in any environment. When uncertainty rises, vigilance rises. Vigilance shifts your biology. Heart rate increases slightly, breathing becomes shallower, peripheral vision narrows. And here's something most people don't know. When vigilance activates, blood flow redistributes. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for articulate speech, abstract reasoning, and working memory, receives less metabolic priority. You don't lose intelligence, you lose access.
That subtle fog you feel in meetings, that slight delay in word recall, it's not incompetence, it's survival allocation. Now let's step into a scene. It's Monday morning. You're reviewing notes alone at your desk. Everything makes sense. Your thoughts are structured. Your responses are clear. You feel capable. You are not different. You are protective. And protection can look like many things. Sometimes it looks like over-preparing. You rehearse conversations in your head before they happen. You anticipate objections. You structure sentences mentally. Not because you love planning, because unpredictability once felt unsafe. Sometimes protection looks like silence. You have ideas, strong ones, but you wait. You calculate the room. You measure tone. You assess hierarchy. And by the time you decide it's safe enough to speak, the moment has passed. Other times, protection looks like over-talking, filling space quickly, explaining in excess, trying to control interpretation before it turns against you. These patterns aren't personality traits, they are state responses. Now let's go deeper. Sometimes what you experience in professional environments isn't just activation, it's dissociation. Not dramatic detachment, subtle disconnection. You feel slightly outside yourself, like you're observing your own performance in real time. Your voice sounds less warm, your humor fades, your movements feel more calculated. This happens when your nervous system blends sympathetic activation with dorsal vagal conservation. In simple terms, you are alert, but partially withdrawn. It's an ancient strategy. When full fight or flight isn't appropriate and escape isn't possible, the body reduces emotional exposure. It's protection through dampening. You stay functional, but less fully present. And afterward, alone, you return. Your humor comes back. Your thoughts feel fluid again. You think, why can't I be like that in meetings? Because alone, your system is regulated. Observed, your system is protective. Now let's examine something even deeper. If safety in your early life depended on performance, achievement becomes identity.
Competence equals belonging. Excellence equals protection. Maybe you were praised for grades, but not for vulnerability. Maybe mistakes were corrected sharply. Maybe emotional expression was minimized. Over time, your nervous system built an equation. If I perform well, I stay safe. So in adulthood, professional environments don't just activate ambition, they activate survival. You don't just want to succeed, you need to succeed, because somewhere deep inside, performance still equals safety. And this creates a hidden cost. When safety depends on excellence, rest becomes difficult. Even after praise, the nervous system remains alert. Because success postpones threat, it does not eliminate it. Now, imagine this scenario. You're promoted. More authority, more responsibility, more visibility. You expect activation to decrease. Instead, it increases. Why? Because visibility intensifies evaluation, and evaluation awakens memory. Even leaders experience this, rereading emails repeatedly, overanalyzing tone, avoiding difficult conversations, becoming rigid in decision-making. Not because they lack skill, Because hierarchy activates ancient survival circuitry. Your nervous system does not care about titles. It cares about belonging. If belonging once felt conditional, authority can feel precarious. Now let's move toward the mechanism of change. Healing is not about eliminating activation. It's about updating prediction. The nervous system is predictive. It constantly asks, what is likely to happen next? If past experience taught it that visibility leads to discomfort, it will anticipate discomfort. Prediction shapes physiology. Physiology shapes access. Access shapes identity. But prediction can be rewritten, not through logic alone, through lived contradiction. Imagine you are in a meeting. You feel the familiar tightening, but this time you notice it without attacking yourself. You slow your exhale, longer out-breath than in-breath. You relax your jaw slightly. You allow a pause before speaking. You speak imperfectly. No one humiliates you. No one rejects you. The world does not collapse. Your nervous system registers activation plus survival. That pairing is powerful. It creates memory reconsolidation. Old prediction, visibility equals harm. New experience, visibility equals survivable discomfort. This does not transform you instantly, but it weakens the old pathway. And with repetition, the brain updates. You speak again in another meeting. You survive again. The nervous system recalibrates gradually. Micro updates accumulate, and something subtle begins to change. The version of you that exists alone starts appearing in public, not because you forced confidence, because protection relaxed. But here is something essential. This process requires patience. Your nervous system learned vigilance over years. It will not abandon it overnight. And you don't need it to. Protection once kept you safe. Respect it. Then gently retrain it. Now let's go even deeper into implicit trauma. Trauma is not defined by intensity. It is defined by lack of support during overwhelm. A moment of embarrassment without reassurance, a correction without warmth, a comparison without context. If your body felt alone in those moments, the defensive response remained incomplete. Incomplete responses become stored energy. Stored energy activates under similarity. This is why a neutral facial expression can trigger tension. Your mind says it's nothing. Your body says prepare. Healing happens when similarity no longer equals danger. When your body learns that the present is not the past. And this only happens through embodied experience, through staying in the room, through breathing while visible, through allowing silence, through tolerating disagreement without collapse.
Over time, your window of tolerance expands. Window of tolerance is your capacity to remain regulated under stress. The wider it becomes, the less often you shift into protective states. And slowly, quietly, identity integrates. You are not the confident version alone and the anxious version in public. You are one person with fluctuating nervous system states. And states can change.
There's a moment in this process that doesn't look dramatic. No applause, no breakthrough speech, no sudden transformation. It happens quietly. You're in a meeting. the familiar activation rises. Your chest tightens slightly. Your thoughts begin to narrow. But this time, something is different. You recognize it. Not as failure, as memory. And that recognition changes your relationship with it. Because the moment you stop interpreting activation as weakness, it stops feeling like betrayal. For years, you thought the goal was to eliminate the reaction. To never feel the tightness. To never feel the pressure. To never feel the internal scan. But healing is not the absence of activation. It is the presence of safety during activation. Imagine this. You speak in the meeting. Your voice trembles slightly. You notice it. But you don't panic. You continue. No one attacks you. No one humiliates you. The moment passes, and your nervous system registers something new. I was visible, and I survived. This is how prediction changes, not through confident speeches, through lived contradiction. The old story begins to loosen. Visibility does not always equal harm. Hierarchy does not always equal rejection. Disagreement does not equal abandonment. And slowly, something remarkable happens. The gap between alone you and public you begins to shrink. Not because you became louder, not because you became extroverted, but because protection softened. Let's go even deeper. Protection was not your enemy. Protection was intelligent. It learned from real experiences, from moments when you felt exposed without support, from times when performance determined safety, from rooms where belonging felt conditional. Protection helped you navigate those environments. It reduced emotional exposure. It sharpened awareness. It increased vigilance. It kept you safe. But protection is state-dependent, and sometimes it continues long after the original danger has passed. Your nervous system does not automatically update timelines. It responds to patterns. If enough patterns resemble old discomfort, it assumes continuity. This is why adult environments can activate childhood strategies, not because you are regressing, because your system is predictive, and prediction can lag behind reality. But here is the turning point. You are no longer 8 years old. You are no longer trapped in that classroom. You are no longer dependent on that one authority figure. You have capacity now, choice, language, perspective. Your body doesn't fully know that yet, so you teach it through repetition, through staying in the room, through allowing discomfort without fleeing internally, through noticing activation and choosing regulation. Each time you breathe instead of bracing, you send a new signal. Each time you tolerate silence, you expand capacity. Each time you survive imperfection, you weaken the old prediction. And over months, not days, integration begins. You walk into a room. Activation still appears, but it no longer controls you. It becomes background noise rather than a command. You speak, you pause, you remain. And afterward, you don't replay the moment for hours because your nervous system no longer interprets it as threat. Something else emerges in its place. Curiosity, creativity, humor, spontaneity, warmth. These qualities were never gone. They were suppressed under vigilance. When vigilance softens, expression returns.
And then, one day, you realize something quietly profound. You are in a meeting, you are being observed, you are visible, and you feel like yourself. Not perfectly regulated, not completely fearless, but present. The version of you that once only existed alone now exists in connection. That is integration, not perfection. Integration. You are never two different people. You are one person operating under two different nervous system states. Alone, regulated. Observed, protective. Protection once saved you. Honor that. But you are not required to live inside that state forever. Your nervous system can learn that visibility is survivable, that disagreement is tolerable, that belonging does not require armor. And when it learns that, something powerful happens. You stop negotiating your existence in every room. You stop calculating every sentence. You stop shrinking or overcompensating. You simply show up. Not as performance, as presence. You don't feel fine alone because your body was meant to withdraw from the world. You feel fine alone because your body can finally rest. The work is not to eliminate that rest. The work is to bring that rest into connection, into visibility, into hierarchy, into leadership. Safety first, then expression, then expansion. And what returns was never missing. It was waiting.